This is Certified Reflexologist Helen Chin Lui from the Healing Place Energy School. I welcome my Instagram family. I hope I'm on. My YouTube family, and also my Facebook family. Tonight, I am flying solo tonight. My co-hostess, Robin Bornstein, the other kick butt Reiki mistress. She's unfortunately allergy has bit her, and she is not feeling well. In fact, when I saw her, her eyes were like a goldfish eyes, and they were so puffed up. I'm thinking, Robin, do you know where the camera is? Yes, the poor woman is suffering. So I decided to do a combination as the reflexologist, and we're going to talk about sustainable happiness. So I'm going to combine reflexology with energy medicine, maybe both. And I want to welcome you to really jump in to ask questions about energy medicine and reflexology and anything that you have on your mind today in terms of positive energy flow. Let's face it, who doesn't want to feel good? I want to feel good all the time. And there are so many ways we could keep what I call sustainable happiness. It's just that more times than not, we believe we don't deserve it. Why? Why do we not deserve it? A lot of times, what we do is compare with what we have in this moment. So, do you have a nice house? Do you have a car? Do you have a job? So, all of those, what I call outwardly tangible things, measure our success, right? And if you feel like you don't have what it takes to be who you are, be who you are, you feel like you have failed. So, one of the things I really want to get into is what does happiness looks like? And feel free, let me know. Hello, Tam Spiden. I'm so happy that I caught. Hey, you know what? I'm trying to do more of these live talks because I really enjoy them. For those people who do not know me, I am a certified reflexologist. I've been doing this now for 15 years. In fact, I'm about to celebrate my 15th anniversary. And how I got into this business or the art of healing is my son was really sick. And unfortunately, at the time, 15 years ago, the only options I had was drugs or more drugs. You don't like this medicine? Let me give you a new pill. And before I knew it, my poor son was feeling worse instead of better because unfortunately, medicine has its place, as everyone knows, but there's also side effects. And from there, um, I used to do a lot of praying to help my poor son. He was 8 years old at the time. I did a lot of praying and asking God for guidance. And God, what he decided to play a little joke on me. He says, Helen, you need to awaken your healer in this lifetime. I've always had abilities to heal, even when I was much younger. But I decided I was a closet healer. Yes, I lived in the closet for the longest time. I did healing work on the side just to help friends. But once I had my son, he was the one that forced me to awaken my inner healer. And that's what I'm really passionate about, helping everybody who comes to the healing place to awaken your inner healer. And the more you understand about your your chakras, check out my books out there back there, know your chakras. The more you understand your energy flow, you're going to learn to actually have choices. I was going to use the word control, but that's not right. Really, you have choices in life. What do you want to do about here? Everybody spend more time putting everybody ahead of this person, and you forget about yourself. And what happens is, as you do everything for everyone else, your family, your spouse, work, you're depleted at the end of the day. or even before the end of the day. Because what happens is when you're constantly running on empty, this is you're running on empty, you got nothing to give, let alone give to yourself. So, happiness. What is true sustainable happiness? I'm not talking about the things that makes us happy. Oh, okay, I got 10 extra bucks. Let me go to the store and buy myself something. I'm not talking about material happiness. I'm talking about inner, deep down, that's coming from inside of you out, not the other way around. Because once you get caught into the external happiness, you're going to look for your next fix. Okay, it could be another pair of shoes, it could be anything that you like that would give you that little high in that minute and distract you. So, inner happiness, what is it caused by? Let me just go over my little punch list here. Number one, I think fear and doubt. That's number one. Two, do you measure up? And I'm not talking about measuring up to, with your neighbor. Do you measure up to yourself? Because a lot of times competition has to do with not competing with your buddy, but are you competing with yourself? Mm-hmm. So, what does this do to your energy? Instead of energy flowing back and forth, up and down, all of a sudden your energy is doing this. Like today, I had a young man that I worked with for the first time. His name is Joseph. Oh my God, he's in his mid 30s. He was so kick butt. The only problem with what was going on in Joseph's energy, he did not know how great he is. He's an old soul that has lost his way. You go, how do old souls lose their ways? Well, because one thing about healers could not just only do help people to heal. We do all kinds of things to help people feel well and along with yourself. So healing work can be gardening, cooking. In my I like to knit and share my gifts. So people think healing work is only when you do hands-on work, doing reflexology, kindness. Kindness is a big deal. When you're showing kindness to somebody else, let's say somebody's not doing all so well, and you're lending a hand. To me, that's being a healer. Little things, picking up the phone and saying hello to someone that who you haven't seen in a while. Again, healing work does not necessarily mean hands-on. Anything that you're willing to share, even let's say you have a buddy you haven't spoken to in a while, you text them and say, hey, how are you doing? That's healing work. Okay, so what causes this breakdown in happiness? Instead of just energy radiating out of us, our energy becomes fragmented like this. And all of a sudden, you start to have crazy thoughts. And I really do call them crazy because all of a sudden, you're comparing your life with somebody else's life. Or worse, you're judging yourself as though you are in a race alone. And you're comparing yourself and thinking, I should be I should already have a house. I should already be married. Why is my children not behaving? As soon as you put the word should, I could have, you have dummied down your life. You have. You've dummied down your life, and that really sucks. So what are you looking for? Then you end up looking for somebody to believe in you versus you believing in yourself. So let's do this right now. If anybody's out there is really thinking about how the energy is not flowing, or if you need a burst right now, let's do this. Let's take 3 cleansing breaths. You're going to breathe into the nose and you're going to exhale as long as you can through the mouth. As you're doing the exhale, whatever you think you can release, even if you're conscious or not conscious of it, you're going to blow it out and get rid of it out of your chakras. All right, Let's do 3 cleansing breath. You're going to breathe in and out. Again, breathe in and out. One last time. Breathe in and out. Just being as quiet a second as you are rebalancing your energy through your system. And just notice if there's a tingly feeling somewhere, let's say in your heart or in your stomach, what that tingliness is indicating that you have let something go out of your chakras. You may not be conscious about it in this minute, but that's okay. You have intentionally decided not to be attached to it. Attachment is really important when you do healing work, to have no attachment to the outcome. In fact, because we are so focused with such a material society, we focus too much on the things that we don't have in possessions. So what happens is we end up racing to get that item. And the more, if you notice, the more you race, this is when the insecurities come in, the feeling of you're not worthy, the feeling of emptiness really grows in your energy field. So, what do you do when you begin to have these crazy thoughts? First thing I want you to do is ask yourself, is this really real? Or am I making this up? Because a lot of times we tell ourselves stories. And more times than not, they're stories that are not real. Have you noticed that? You know, please feel free to just check in. Just if you have a comment, share. Because one thing about, where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from doing. It comes from living outside of your comfort zone and doing something new almost every day. I have lived outside of my comfort zone for 15 years now, because what stops more people to achieve happiness is, you figure if you're doing things for other people, that's going to bring happiness. No, what that does is it's a superficial happiness, because you're working hard. In some ways, you deplete your own happiness by giving it to somebody else. So think about the people around you. Do they support you, or do they bring you down? Perhaps you have a demanding spouse or partner. And just think about, what do they do to you every day? Because one thing about suffering this way, we get used to it. We don't even know we're suffering until it's too late. And all of a sudden you wonder why your energy crashes. Perhaps you started to see somebody like a therapist. And I'm not saying that's bad, but there's a lot of things that lead you to this way until your energy finally crashes. So I'm wondering, I hope this makes sense to you. So what do you do when you start to feel this depletion? The first thing I'd say, this is what I've taught my family, my children. I want you to practice the art of stopping. Whatever you do, stop for 5 minutes. Sit somewhere quietly. Shut off your phone. Get away from all the distractions. Sit quietly without guilt. This is key, because most people feel really guilty if they're not doing anything or they're not contributing. You don't have to be all things for all people at all times. All right. Does this make sense to everybody? Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart if that makes sense. Because I've learned if we are good to ourselves first, oh my gosh, the happiness, the joy radiates. Perhaps you have a friend, and wherever he or she goes, the room just lights up. Hello, Amanda. Oh, she's catching a show from Melbourne. I'm quite sure it's very warm down there, Amanda. But feel free to jump in. If you want to contradict me, that's okay. You could do that because I'm not afraid of listening to other people's opinions. Because what I am sharing with you is my own personal experiences plus um, clients that I see at the healing place for the last 15 years. And there's a common theme with everybody who comes. Not only comes, but just a common theme in people. There's three things that I notice about, in general, about people. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be respected. Something as easy as those three things we deprive other people of, but what's worse, we deprive ourselves from these things. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to be respected. And respect comes from how do you honor yourself? Like we were taught to honor our parents by listening and doing things for them. But how do you honor your soul? Honoring could be knowing when you are pushed the limits or when you say no to somebody because it is just too much. Learning boundaries, accepting what you do is the best of your abilities, and not say to yourself, I could have done better. Here's a good one, especially if women are listening to this. You know how women, you give a woman a compliment, a friend, oh, your hair looks really nice, your makeup looks nice. What do? Instead of saying thank you, that's really lovely of you, instead they're telling you what's not right with them. And why? A lot of times people don't think they're worthy of a compliment. So, this is a practice I want everyone to do. Give someone a compliment. And if someone wants to rebuttal you, stop them. And what I usually do is say, do you really want to go there? Do you really think that little of yourself? When people think, they always think by receiving a compliment, that's being boastful, that's being prideful. So, we're talking about religious things. Instead, what's wrong with having pride and being proud of what you've done and achieved? Who is going to be on your side? I have people who come to me and there's such guilt. So many religions have such heavy duty guilt. And I'm going to mention the Catholic religion. Maybe it's the wrong thing to do. And I remember my one client says, well, we're supposed to give other people help and praise them and support them, and at the expense of me, myself. So I asked that client, when is it your turn? Are you waiting for someone to give you praise, recognition? And she did not know how to respond. She had to really think about that. So this is a practice that I want you to do today. This is something that I love teaching clients. When you're brushing your teeth tonight or tomorrow, depending on what time is your time zone, like there's Amanda, she's in Melville. I think she's 16 hours ahead of us. I want you to stand in the mirror and look at the person in the mirror and say, hey, how are you doing today? Really look at her or him without judgment, without jumping in. Wonder, just observe, what do you see? What do you feel? I remember when I did this exercise for the first time because it was assigned to me in energy medicine school. I remember going, looking in the mirror, looking at myself and saying, oh my gosh, who are you? I did not realize I have lost touch with myself. I had no idea who was that woman in the mirror. So over the course of a year, I did this exercise at least once or twice a week. Now, when I look in the mirror, I say, oh my God, you are so kick-ass. I could barely stand it. So those are moments of joy when you appreciate yourself like the way you might appreciate a family member, your spouse, your children. Come back home to you. Okay? Does that resonate with you? It's a tough homework assignment when you first begin this, but you're going to realize, here's a thought. I'm going to take a sip. I have a thought here. Excuse me. I'm a noisy drinker. Actors and actresses that we see on TV, on the little screen, on the big screen, I kind of realize why people are attracted to these people. For those who don't know my background, I used to be a professional radio producer for a big radio station in Boston, WBZ. And I met very famous people back in the 80s. I even met presidents. And I realized one thing about all of these people. They have the same insecurities as everybody else. They eat the same way. There was one guy that for those, now I'm going to show my age. He was the father on Bonanza. I wish I could remember his name, something, Lauren Green. For those people who are really old like me, they will know who Lauren Green is. And he wrote a book about something about his life, a biography about living on Bonanza, doing a TV show. And I remember I was the tour guide that showed him where the studio is, help him with, get him ready to do a talk show. And once the talk show was done, I went and ushered him out and I say, hey, Mr. Green, thank you, Janie. I said, what are you doing after the talk show? Do you have another gig, another studio to go to? He says, no, I'm going to go back to the hotel and I am just going to hang. I said, really? Oh. And that day when he was at the studio, it was my Christmas party at my radio station. I said, I have an idea. We are having a lunch for the staff. Do you want to come with me? You could be my date. And he looked at me. He said, you know what? I would really like that. So I took him into the big conference room. The food was set up. I introduced him as my date. And everybody was just so pleased that he joined us. And I was thinking to myself, here's this man with such prestige and recognition, and he was alone. He was alone because there wasn't anyone that was ushering him. So I decided to share my day with him at the studio. So I fed him really well. I made sure, as Janie knows, she knows I love to feed people. So I just kept piling the food on his plate until he couldn't walk anymore. But no, happiness is not the same for everybody, because when we see people on the screen, TV, we think that these people have something more than we do. No, they're not. We all have the same insecurities because we're looking for validation that's coming from outside of us. That's what makes us, most of us, feel really good when we say, good job. But why can't you say that to yourself? Good job. Like today, I'm just so pleased. I've worked with 4 people. One of them is new. I have the best time at work because it's not work to me. When I help people to recognize their inner light and be who they can become, then God downloads this information to me and what to talk about. Like here I am with you tonight. That's what feeds my soul. And I feel really good to be able to share this information. So, what do I want you to practice today? I want you to give yourself a thumbs up. I really want you to feel good with what you do. Stop measuring, stop judging, stop comparing. Be okay in your skin because this is the only one you're going to get in this lifetime. And if you find yourself you're chasing, I want you to stop. Take the 3 cleansing breath. Another thing that we could do, yes, Clara's right. Happiness begins in the intestines. That's the reason why most of us have digestive issues, because if your second chakra, which is your emotions, and your third chakra, which is self-esteem, so your upper GI tract, the lower GI tract is interrupted, that interrupts all of your energy flow. Men generally operate from the first 3 chakras, your first, second, and third. The first one is, I got to get the home. I got to get the money. I got to get the spouse, all the material stuff. And I'm not saying women are not like this too. So the second chakra is about, with men, how to overcome, how to beat up the next guy and win the race. The third chakra is about self-esteem. Like the young man that I was working with, Joseph, 35 years old, and he's racing for his life. And I asked him why. And today's discussion was, he realized he was racing against himself. So what a lot of people, especially rule keepers, and I recognize rule keeper trait, energy, personality, archetype traits, because I am a rule keeper. Instead of what we love to do, we love to check off on our list, check, 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 check. Instead of stop and say, you did a really good job, we already pushed the bar up. By pushing that bar up unconsciously or out of habit, we're never going to be happy. So one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn in my 67th year, if I don't finish, I don't finish. And I got to be okay with that. I know I did the very best that I could do today. And I know I'm going to do the very best I can tomorrow. So one of the things that I teach is how to come back inside of you. Instead of giving away your powers, why not retain it? Be selfish. Be selfish. Save something for you. Be the best version of yourself. And don't apologize. Will this affect everyone in your family? Yes, it will. As I always tell everybody that I work with, all of a sudden, because your energy is shifting, this is going to cause a ripple effect through your whole family. Some people will feel threatened. Some people will feel like, wow, she's given me permission. Some people will take chances. Some people will cower and say, I can't. Who am I to do this? And my comeback is, who are you not to do this? So have courage. One of the best things I've learned from my buddy when I was in radio station, Eddie. Oh my God, I loved him. I could have run away with him, but my husband would have been pissed. He was my very best friend when I was in radio. He was very patient with me because I was a very impatient learner. I'm a tactile learner. If you show me how to do things, usually all it takes is one time. I got it down. If you make me read it, I will be miserable. So Eddie used to say, Helen, can't you read and learn? I go, no, Eddie, you could tell me in 2 minutes and I'll have it down. So one of the things Eddie taught me is, and I still hold this really dear to my heart. He says, Helen, no one's ever going to give you power. No one's going to put it on a plate. You have to take it. You have to make it your own. If you're waiting for someone to give you permission, that is never going to happen. All right. Be boldful. Be bold. Be courageous. And before you know it, your energy and the happiness inside is going to spread. How does that sound? I hope it's been kick-ass for you. I feel really good about this. I feel really good about sharing and knowing that you're here. Robin and I usually would do a meditation around now. But you know what? I think the lesson was really helpful. So how I'll end this with, let's do 3 clearing breaths. If anything that I've said to you resonated, I want you to take it in on a cellular level. Take as little or as much as you want. There is no wrong way of doing this work. This is something I emphasize all the time. This is not the Helen's way. This is your way. Make it your own. Let's take 3 cleansing breaths into the nose and out through the mouth and push out what doesn't serve you and let it go. Even if it's for the moment. And you may have to practice this every chance you get. Okay, breathe in through the nose and out. Again, breathe in and out. And one last time, breathe in and out. That was really good. I could feel everyone's vibration. If you notice that tingliness, you're feeling your own powers right now. And I think that's really kick butt. So please share. Let's build a community of like-minded people. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Oh man, there's so many things to say. And next week when Robin's back, let's talk about self-kindness. Ooh, self-kindness. That's a really weird thing to do. Self-kindness. Yeah, it's all about you. So you can be the healer that you are meant to be. Be safe. Practice kindness. Practice feeling good. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself one thing that you like about yourself. Do this every day. One thing. I don't care what it is, because nobody's judging you other than yourself. And since this is what I tell people, we already have God within us, in us. And the universe loves you the way you are. See you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let more people know and join us. Be well. God bless.